So what do you think about Taysom?
Oh man. Okay. I think I actually I'm gonna do something I rarely do, and I'm gonna pull my notes. I'm gonna read some of the notes, guys, because there's a few things I want to get at with him, high level, and then we can kind of get into him. I think one thing that stands out that you can see what they're doing is they're giving him some half field reads, right? You see them rolling out, and you can see some of the route concepts, right? You can say, okay, the routes are going to be on this side of the field, or if you're rolling out, or if the route combination presents itself in a way where, they're going to be kind of isolated to one side, or if the second read, it's a read out. So I don't know how well he sees the field, right? And it's a lot that goes into that. He's only on his third start. People are game planning him. That's one thing. I think his accuracy is better than I thought it would be. I was pleasantly surprised about where he was putting the football this game. I thought that for the most part, the ball was on the spot. I thought some of his throws were a bit late, but there were some that were not. So I think that over time, as you do that more and more, I think that becomes, a good quality of his. I think he has a good arm, which is something. I think his arm is better than I thought it was too. So that's another thing I've been pleasantly surprised about.
He needs to learn how to dial off the arm. The arm's maybe too good sometimes.
So you took my next point, because that he almost threw a pick because he got to put an arc on it sometimes, because he threw that ball on the. I think in your article, guys, by the way, forgot to say it. NewOrleans.Football, 2 articles on the site already this week. One of the film study article is outstanding. It's so good. It's so good. Please go read it. We're going to reference some of the stuff in there, but most of the information is there. But he put that ball on the line that could have easily been picked off. So that's kind of like where I see him right now. I still don't know what I think about him, which is, I understand it is 3 games, but like I feel like I didn't know before he started playing at quarterback, and now that we've seen him play, gosh, with his 3 whole games, I still don't know, right? I still don't know. So I need to see more. We're only going to have 1 game left, and
if he starts against Philadelphia, they're going to kill Philadelphia, and we still aren't going to know enough about him. And I think that's part of the problem. I don't think we've seen enough moments with him where things aren't perfect. And the couple moments that we have seen when things aren't perfect, it hasn't been great for him, but it's not enough to form an opinion, and it doesn't necessarily tell us enough about him to really say anything.
Right.
I think if you wanted to break down his performances and look for reasons for negativity, you could easily find them. And you could find reasons to discredit him. And if you want to find reasons to see him as someone who could be a starter, there's plenty of reasons for that too. And I just don't know if we have a big enough picture. But I will say this: if the season ended today, and let's say Drew comes back against Philadelphia, which I don't know if he will or won't.
Oh yeah,
we'll see. Drew's a psycho. He's going to try to come back. I think that organizationally, that there's probably an argument to be made just to hold it back. Don't put him out there in the cold. Don't have him take hits in the cold. But if he wants to play and he's cleared, he's going to play. And we saw that last year. I mean, and he's going to do everything he can. So we'll see how that plays out. So just if this is the end of Taysom. If we were having this conversation, Drew retires, we're having this conversation, hey, Nick, where do you think Taysom stands? I would say that there's probably enough there that I think that they could probably, if they keep the whole entire team together, the whole entire team, and they have good injury luck next year, I think they could win 10 games.
I think if the defense is still good like it is, when you got to bring Trigger Trey back though, right?
I do. I mean, I really do. I think they're good enough to win 10 games with him. I think they're good enough to win 10 games with a lot of people though. And but then you get into the playoffs, and this is going back to my first point. You get into the playoffs, and that's when everything gets taken away. Everything gets taken away, and at some point in the playoffs, it comes down to, is your quarterback good enough to make things happen when there's nothing there? I don't know the answer to that with him yet, and I don't know how many guys are there that are actually that good. That's the other thing. I mean, there's probably there's only a handful of truly great quarterbacks, and then there's a bunch of other guys, and you got your quarterbacks that are good enough to get you to the playoffs and maybe win a game and then lose. Maybe if everything is perfect, your team is so good, you can get by with one of those guys and steal a title. But it's just it's hard. And I just don't know. I don't know enough about him. The stuff with him carrying the ball, I think is concerning. Again, if we're going back to the thing of like, if you want to look for negativity, if you want to look for positivity is that, yeah, he's a weapon when he runs and he can bust off a 40-yard run. And if you're playing man and everybody's got their backs to him, he can run down the field. And I think he showed in this Falcons game when they went to too high on third downs that he sees zone well enough that he can pick it apart, and that Sean Payton's a great coach and he's going to scheme guys open and Taysom's going to be able to hit them. Like, you can take advantage of that. The problem is that if Latavius Murray fumbled at the same rate as him, I don't know that you'd be having the same level of leniency. Yeah. So, benched. I mean,
come on. I mean, Taysom is fumbling like 10% of his snaps. Like, it's a ridiculous number. Like, it's such a high number that, like, it's a deal breaker. Like, it's a deal breaker.
I don't know if it's a deal breaker. The question is it a fatal flaw? Can he fix it or not? And the thing is, like, he didn't fumble before and he's fumbling now, which is one of the more mystifying things about it. I think there's a few of them where you can kind of, like, I broke them all down. There's a few of them, I'm not looking at the fumbles on the read options, right? I think you can throw those out. That's like he's reading it wrong. There's, somebody's grabbing the ball, he's pulling it back. Like there's some type of miscommunication. That's not the fatal flaw stuff. That's not the why can't this guy protect the football? That's okay, mentally you got to do something different. And you can fix that. You can clean that up. I'm not looking at the one against Detroit where there's the snap and Jeff Nowak from the Times-Picayune, I think he broke it down, and like it's if you super freeze frame it and you Zapruder this thing, like you might see a ball hit somebody's foot. I'm not looking at that. Like it's either the ball hit somebody's foot or he wasn't paying enough attention on the stop and it hit him in the hands. And he didn't. I'm not looking at the ones I'm looking at are San Francisco. And when he's getting tackled, going to the ground, one hand on the ball, flails it out a little bit. A guy on the ground punches it out. Yeah. AJ Terrell twice. First time he gets a fumble. Second time he looked like a guy that knew what to do. And that's the stuff. Like you gotta tighten it up. You gotta hold it tighter. You gotta get two hands on it. I don't know what the problem is, but it's got to get fixed because his greatest strength is becoming something where if I'm a DC, do I want to put him in situations to run the ball? Like, because if he's going to turn it over, like it's a tough situation. It's hard to trust.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna stand beside my take. Right now, it's a deal breaker. Now he can change, he can fix it, and they can get better. But yeah, I think it's a deal. That second fumble was.
When you say deal breaker, though, I feel like you're saying he can't fix it.
No. I'm saying if it's a deal breaker, if the frequency of his fumbling doesn't change. I think it's sure. I think it's an absolute deal breaker. I'm not making any definitive statements on him right now because I don't think neither one of us is doing that because I don't think we have enough information. But
I'm not comfortable. Yeah, I'm not
comfortable saying that. But I'm saying that there's a pattern here, and this pattern has been going on for about 6 games. Okay, any other player on the roster would be benched. Okay, he'd be benched. Right, I don't care. Even if Kamara fumbled that much, as good as Kamara is, you just wouldn't give him the ball, at least in certain situations. I mean, that second fumble was brutal, right? I know some people say the first one is worse. I think both of them are bad. The first one, you got to be smart as a quarterback, right? And I've seen quarterbacks try to make things happen, and you just got to know the situation. Kick the field goal, make it an 8-point game. At worst, it's overtime. At worst. Right. But that fumble in that situation when you could have got rid of the ball, that's a mental fumble to me. Right. That's a quarterback fumble. The second one is what concerns me because the guy just attacked the ball and it came out. Like and that's a situation where hey, look, we can't fumble here. Right. We're trying to run out the clock. Right. Ideally, we get a first down with you. But the key thing is protecting the ball. The second thing is getting a first down. And he did the number one thing that you can't do in that situation. I mean, imagine if he was running, I don't know if that run was to the field side or to the boundary, but if there's a little bit more grass, Saints are, I don't know, they got 3 losses instead of 2. So yeah, I just think he got to fix that. You can't play. You can't be the person that touches the football every single down and put it on the turf that much. It's just a deal. I keep saying deal breaker, but I mean it's something that has to be fixed, or otherwise he's not viable as a quarterback. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make.
I do want to say, and I think it's important to put it in here, that he was 11 minutes away from probably being wildly hyped. He was 11 minutes away from being wildly hyped. He was, I think it was probably his best game as a thrower of the ball.
Gosh. Oh, gosh. His accuracy was so good this game, yeah.
There weren't qualifiers in this one. In the first game, there were qualifiers. In the second game, there was it just, I guess the second game, when we talk about him, we're supposed to act like it just didn't happen. I guess that's kind of what everybody's doing. Whatever it is,
but yeah, go ahead.
It was a super weird game. I don't know how to adjust for it. I don't know what to do with it. I'm moving by it. I don't know. Whatever. Falcons game to Falcons game. We'll just compare those two. The throwing in the first game was okay. There was stuff. There was, again, qualifiers. Oh, he got hit when he threw a ball. Oh, like there's a penalty, this and that, whatever. This one, I don't. He just hit his spots. And you know, I think if you break down the film, there's a lot of stuff that I think you also give co-credit to Payton, because I think this was probably one of his better scheme games in a while. There were guys like just getting open, but he's throwing the ball. He's executing the offense. It looked good. He looked sharp. The throw to Jared Cook on the touchdown was really good. You know, he fit it into a window. You know, a staple Saints concept down there, but he recognized that, he saw the coverage, he got the ball out quickly, and took advantage of you know the opening that Jared Cook had. All really good stuff. So I mean, I think on that front, if he hadn't thrown this fumble, hadn't tried to throw and fumbled on the play with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah,
I think the narrative's a lot different. I think
I'm sorry that you missed your moment there, man. I know you're heartbroken. I know Alvin, you was waiting for the Alvin pass, and you gotta wait a little longer, man. You guys don't know, man. My guy was hurt. My guy was hurt. I was like, it was a virtual hug going. So all right, so let me ask you this, right? So we're on the Taysom topic, but to the, you know, we're talking about, you know, if he gets to the playoffs, then things become tricky, right? And so I just went and looked through just some of the teams, right? And I'm gonna put you on the spot here, and it's probably impossible. It's gonna lead to some. It's an interesting exercise that'll probably lead to some conversation. But I'm looking through the teams, right? And I'm saying, okay, who's the quarterback for this team? And you look at them, and you kind of, and we're just talking this year. You put them against Taysom, the Giants, who they have at quarterback, maybe versus to the Saints. You know, I'm Daniel Jones.
Are we?
You know, it's like I'm just looking at.
I'm not even going to entertain a conversation about the Giants as a playoff team, man.
But well, I mean, the Giants are. I think they look defensively. They look really good lately. But I'm with you. You don't take them shit. But I'm just saying, like, who would they potentially face? And the Giants are a team that's going to get to the playoffs this year. They're leading the NFC East, right? So they could. I don't know. In some realm, they're number one seed. They play the last seed. Giants sneak a win. They almost beat Tampa, right? So that's a team that he may face. I mean, Washington may make it. I don't know who's coming out the East. You know, the Rams, Seattle, 49ers. How do you feel about it? Right? Oh, go ahead.
Is Tampa going to win more games than the Patriots?
Tampa is 7-5, and the Patriots are
go ahead and see that one.
6-6. Hey, listen, if Bill finesses that, then game over.
I know, man.
He's the king of finesse. He's the king of finesse if he pulls that off. Wow. I'm just
half his team sat out. COVID hit. Half his team sat out. Like, they don't got. I don't think most people could name 4 players on their defense.
McCourty brothers, Jackson.
Well, that don't count, man. Take the twins out.
No. That's it. That's my 4.
Who'd you hit?
The McCourty brothers, the Jackson cornerback, and Gilmore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Wait, is Jamie Collins still? No, he's in Detroit.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Yeah, that's Belichick. That's how he likes to play defense. Ain't nobody. You guys can all be replaced. But yeah, I was just going through the teams and saying, okay, like, how will Taysom perform against this team? And I'm looking like there are some teams that concern you. Like, if you play the Seahawks and Russ gets hot, you know, the Packers are obviously a team that concerns you. Tampa Bay, you just never know. But for the most part, I don't know. In the NFC this year, you maybe feel like he could light it up.
He could light it up in a tough situation. He really could. I just don't know. I don't know. Well, I haven't seen him run a 2-minute drill. Can he do that? Can he run it the way Breeze does? What's that look like? Is the pace different?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff, but I've never seen him do it, so I have no idea. You know, when Breeze is in that situation, I have confidence that he's going to get it done.
Oh, he's a 2-minute god.
There's just so much we don't know about him. But like, is he done enough to warrant a second look? Probably, yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think he's. I would say that he's probably a better quarterback than I thought he would be. And I just hadn't seen him, right? At least you guys could see training camp practices and stuff, and you could see it instead of right. Like, I just hadn't seen him do it. I mean, he had some moments in the preseason, but I've been really pleasantly surprised about his ability to put the football where it needs to be. I think his accuracy, which Payton talks about how important that trait is for a quarterback, he's impressed me there. And I just want to, I guess, say something positive about the guy. But yeah, I think that's something that I've been surprised about. I think that you can work on his it's the difference between anticipation and kind of playing within the structure of the play. I think it's with him is more of playing within the structure of the play than anticipation, but that's okay. Sean Payton is your coach. You can live with that.
I started to ding him a little bit for the anticipation, and then I kind of like dialed it back a little bit because I think it will get better as he gets more used to the guys he's playing with. You even saw with Breeze earlier in the year, like with Breeze and Emmanuel Sanders, like that's Drew Brees and Emmanuel Sanders, like they're having trouble. Right. With the anticipation getting on the same page. There was some stuff with Taysom where I felt like he was super late, but then you make up for it with the strong arm. So if it just gets a little bit better, he doesn't have to have God like Drew Brees anticipation. And I think that's part of the
he never will
here too, is that we can't really, it's not fair to grade him on the Drew Brees curve. And it's hard not to, because it's, well, Drew would have thrown it here. Like, I catch myself doing it, and it's like, that ain't fair. Like, you can't do that.
Because you look at, probably Kyler Murray or someone who's just less experienced. They're probably throwing the ball maybe, I don't know, around the same time. But I will say, like, remember the Mike Thomas play that I think we argued about? It was something that we agree with, which means that means we're like really in lockstep with each other, because that's what we do all the time. But, in that play, decision, bad decision, whatever, we were saying the same thing. But this game, I feel like he made a throw similar to that. I don't know if it was to Cook on the curl route, and the ball got there a little earlier. And I was like, okay, well, he threw that pass to Thomas pretty late, and it ended up being, incompletion, potential interception. And this time he got the ball there, a little bit more on time, and it was a completion. Now, it wasn't perfect, but it was an improvement. So I do think that's the area where he could get better as a quarterback. But those things, it just comes with experience, right? And repetition with a certain receiver, knowing when he's going to be there, how he comes out of his drop, etc. So, but yeah, I don't know. I do think that, let's just transition.
I would have killed to see him run a 2-minute drill at the end of that game. Like, it would have been.
I would rather.
It could have turned out bad. Not like, I understand like the team success and everything. I don't think many people listening to this wanted to see that 2-minute drill, but academically, like, just for the science project, like, I wanted to see it just to see what would happen.
Yeah, I'll take it at the end of a half.
I think
the booth is
there's part of me that thinks he has this like crazy, but then he said he struggled with it. But I think he has a high level of confidence. So I don't think he would crap his pants in that situation. I was trying to find a less crude term there, but I don't think he'd crap his pants in that situation, because he seems to have a good amount of confidence. And he came out that first game, I thought, and was throwing with a ton of confidence. The second game, he was like super in his head. This game, he looked really confident again.
I don't think confidence is an issue with him. I will say that.
The other thing I want to say, though, too, is that it is his third start, and I think that's important. And I think that everything does need to be kept in the context of that. But on the flip side of that, it isn't like if it were Jordan Love's third start. Like, he's been in the NFL for 4 years.
So like 4 years, he's 30.
Yeah, not even that, but like he's been hearing this stuff for 4 years. So like, when they got to call a timeout because he's not getting in and out of the huddle, I have less patience with him than I would some other, if it was Garrett Grayson in his third NFL start. But look, I mean, there's also two conversations here too. Like, there's a conversation of like, does he deserve another chance? Like, next year coming into it? Yeah, I think that he's shown enough to have the chance to compete for the job. The larger conversation is he shown enough to be the franchise quarterback? And no, like, there's just not enough evidence. And it's not because he hasn't done what he's supposed to do or anything else. There just haven't been enough of these situations to actually be able to know. And I don't know how many guys you would be able to know after 3 games.
Yeah.
Like, You didn't know Tom Brady was going to be Tom Brady after 3 games. Like, you just don't know. There's just not enough. There's so much stuff that happens over a course of a season. Like, look at Jacoby Brissett. You know, like, he looked great at first and then didn't. And then there's other guys that don't look great at first and then end up being really good. And there's just not enough evidence. But I think that he is. If it's over, he's done enough that you go into next year allowing him to compete with whoever. I think if you can bolster that competition, maybe you do. If you can bring Jameis Winston back at the right price, you probably do. I don't know that he's seized it to the point where you close yourself off to all the other options. But
you can't handle.
He's probably the guy you have to beat to get the job, though. And he's definitely done that.
So let me ask you the question that everyone wants to know: Who has been a better Saints backup? Taysom Hill or Teddy Bridgewater?
This is a dangerous question.
I'm not answering this, by the way. You're the man with the clout and with the best opinions. I think
Teddy showed a better ability to manage a game, but I think that if you took the upside and you just look at it and you say, like, through their 3 starts with the Saints, like, I'm not talking about Teddy's Panthers career or anything like that. Through 3 games, if you cut it off at 3 games for both players and you eliminate all the negatives and only look at the upsides, I think that
look at Teddy's 5. Look at Teddy's 5. We got 5 with Teddy, 3 with Taysom. Just try to compare those apples to oranges.
I think that Taysom has higher highs.
So I think that
Taysom plays with more confidence than Teddy did.
I would probably say Taysom. I would probably say Taysom. I think he can give you more. Like, I mean, listen, the fumbling is the problem, right? The fumbling for me is the issue, because I can trust, and I said a better Saints backup, right? And I specifically said Saints. I didn't say go to another team.
Yeah, I think, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not willing to make a statement that in 2025 right. We're going to look back and be like, oh man, yeah, Taysom got him. Like,
that was crazy. So I'm trying to, like,
boy, that worked out for the Saints. Like, I'm not sure I'm willing to go that far with it yet. But yeah, through this window, I think that Taysom has a higher upside. But look, yeah, I think his downsides are greater too, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to protect myself to walk back this take if this turns out to be crazy. I just think that with Payton as a quarterback, as a coach, I think he can protect Taysom enough to keep the passing game. I mean, he's shown it. Now, listen, maybe he plays against a Martindale. I mean, one of the DCs, like the DC from Baltimore, maybe plays against the Rams, who has a pretty good defense, or Giants are playing pretty good defense, and some DC gets the best of them. But I just think that I would put it on Payton to get more out of Taysom than Teddy, just because he can run the ball, which gives you an element. Like that 43-yard play was a broken play. He just ran out, and so I think he gives you a little bit more explosiveness, offensively, just with his ability to run. I think he's, him and Teddy in passing. Taysom's accurate, man. I mean,
downfield too, and he's not afraid to throw it downfield.
Yeah, I gotta give him that pass to Mike. I mean, he put that ball out there where he gave his guy a chance, and the other guy didn't have a chance. The
third down.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little
late.
It could have been. It was late, but I'm talking about
that's one of those ones. That's one of the ones I'm talking about where, like, you're looking at it and you're like, you wish you would have thrown it with more anticipation.
I'm talking about the ball location, though. I totally agree with you about when he threw it, but just where he put the football.
Yeah, no doubt.
You got to be. Yeah,
it was a good throw. Yeah,
you got to feel good about that. Now, Taysom, I need you to throw that ball a tick faster. I'm with you.
Yeah, and I think he will.
Yeah, speed up your drop, get your feet back there, get into your drop quicker. Rob, the end zone pass to Cook. I mean, he threw that ball on time, right? So I think his ball location is fine, and that gives me hope about him as a quarterback. Because if you can be accurate, then I think there's some things that you can do in this league. So, man,
they beat all their ops, man.
You couldn't hold back and use it. I knew that was coming.
And they beat the ops.
Hey, man, look, and I think we've beat the quarterback discussion into the ground. But I mean, Coach Payton was on Sirius saying
There's nothing. Hold on. There's nothing more important though. Like I can't pretend like the Falcons game matters and everything, and the Eagles game matters. But like this is the potential next 10 years. So it's hard not to obsess over every single detail. Like Payton even said that after the game. Like like it's the left tackle. Like no man. Like this is the quarterback. It matters. It's a huge deal. It's the future of the franchise, and it's happening right now. It's significant.
Well, listen, I'm gonna use your words, not against you, but in a conversation with you, I guess. You've said, man, I want to know what Sean can do with someone other than Drew. Yeah. And I think Sean has put that talk to rest. Like, I think Sean has basically, I think hire of Sean now after these last 2 years, in which I don't know why I needed to see it, but man, my opinion of Sean Payton as a football coach, and not just offensively. I'm not saying as an offensive mind because I think that's on point, but just all over. But even more so as an offensive mind, obviously, it is sky high, man. He's 8-0 over the last 2 years with backup quarterbacks. I don't care who he's playing. He's 8-0. Go ahead.
Before we move on to the next thing, I've stopped you like 8 times going on.
Go ahead.
I gotta say one thing. Like all the people that were like, when Sean was going to play Taysom and they're like, Taysom isn't a quarterback. What are you doing? This guy's an idiot. His ego's going to make him force him to go in. And now the coach of the year discussions are coming up and those same people are just not putting him in there. And it's just kind of like, well, Sean's supposed to be good.
It's crazy.
Wait a minute. Like this quarterback you didn't think he could win with is winning games. And now he doesn't get credit for it.
Good. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
His defense is good. Well, what?
He's the coach of the year. He's clearly.
Yeah, bro. Come on, man. Come on. Hot takes
like
exposed.
Stefanski, cool. That's great. Stefanski, but it shouldn't be like the worst thing about these awards is then you look back and it's like, Michael Jordan didn't win enough MVPs, LeBron didn't. The coach of the year, like John Harbaugh just got his first one last year. Like, come on, man. Sean Payton has one.
Drew Brees doesn't have an MVP. I mean, come on. We can go on about this stuff.
You go down the list of people that have one coach of the year award and Payton has one. Like Bill Belichick has only three times over the last 20 years he's been the best coach in the NFL. Come on,
popularity. Yes, but they get enamored with these new coaches. Stefanski, he's new. They want to put him something. I mean, come on, man. Listen. There's not a coach. I said it maybe last week or the week before. There's not a coach in the NFL who I would, not even Belichick. There's no one who I'm taking over Sean Payton. I'm sorry. I just don't. That's just where I am right now. Maybe Sean starts to suck in a year or something. I don't know. But right now, when I'm seeing the way he coaches his entire team and the way that, because when you're a coach, you're a head coach, you got to be good at your specialty, right? What do you do good? Are you an offensive coach or a defensive coach? I don't want a defensive coach with a bad defense. I'm sorry. I can get someone else for that. But he mastered what his specialty was, and then he started to, the rest of the team kind of follow suit. And so, I mean, just in coach, how he manages his team every game, all aspects of it, man. I think he needs to be in that conversation. I mean, look at it. At the start of the year, they were struggling in the red zone, right? They 19 of their first 22 trips to the red zone, I think the team scored a touchdown. I think it was a touchdown. Now 3 of the last 11, right? He said, hey, man, we got to fix this red zone defense. Teams that played well in the playoffs last year, they all played good red zone defense. We got to get it fixed. He got it fixed. They're +7 in turnover differential, right? Tied for 4th in the league behind Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee, tied with Cleveland, Indiana, and Miami, right? +7. And I think KC is +12. The other teams is like +9 or something like that. So, again, that's what stuff that gets you winning. They're number 1 in time of possession over the last 6 games. Number 2 in the NFL. These are all things that you do when you're coaching your entire team and you're coaching the things that get you to win. That's my case. Sean Payton is the coach of the year right now.